No, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. I am indeed walking in the middle of a lake, specifically right here at the high dive area. Well, this used to be a lake and now it's a lake bed. Welcome back everyone to the former amusement park known as Rocky Glen Park. It's been nearly 2 years since I did my last video here, and I want to return to show you what it looks like today here in 2021. We have a lot of ground to cover, so come along with me and let's get started. Welcome back. Glad to have you joining me today on this adventure here at the former amusement park. Now, before we get too deep into things, I do want to mention a few things up front. Number one, we're going to be focusing primarily on the lake area. If you want to see what the rest of the grounds look like, where the rides used to be, stuff like that, I will have a playlist down below, which is my Rocky Glen playlist, which has all my videos that I've done here, including the past tours and as it's changed throughout the years. Number two, if you're here to see specifically the dam and to see if any work has been done to it or what's taken place, I will get to that later on in the video. So all you have to do is continue watching and you'll see that a little bit later on. Lastly, if you want to find out anything related to the park as far as history, facts, if you want to see photos, videos, get answers to your questions, anything at all, your best source is the Rocky Glen Memories Facebook page. I will have the link down below as well. My friend Andy runs that page. There's well over 10,000 members, and he does a really phenomenal job at sharing articles, debunking myths, answering questions. Basically, it's the go-to source for anything related to Rocky Glen. So if you're not already following that page, head on over there and check it out. Now, the one big change from my last video 2 years ago, and even more so since we first documented when the lake was drained, is how much nature has reclaimed it. My last video, I'm pretty certain, if you want to check back, maybe I'll insert some footage. This was pretty much barren. It was just dirt and muck and, puddles of water. And now it's really grown in substantially. There is still water there, which we will talk about a little bit later on. But I was walking down, these areas here without any obstructions. And now it is so much different in just a matter of 2 years. And not sure if you can see ahead, right there by the edge of the water, there's actually 2 people here. They're doing some metal detecting. That is one thing that was done here in droves. Oh, there's actually 3 people here. Yeah, when the lake was first drained, that's one of the first things that was done is dozens of people came out here with metal detectors and a lot of things were found. People found coins, like trinkets, little things related to the park, whether it's maybe parts of a ride or gifts or memorabilia. I think even like a mug or something was found. A lot of the stuff was shared on the Facebook Memories page, but this place was covered substantially by metal detectors to see what could be found under the exposed lake bed. So people are still here today looking for those lost treasures. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and point out what everything is because that was done in previous videos. Like, for example, right here behind me is the dance hall, penny arcade, stuff like that. And the sandy beach is obviously over there. So I'm not going to go ahead and, be repetitive. But I just want to show you some certain areas that do stand out to me, focus on a couple spots, and just show you what they look like today, as of recent here in 2021. So I'm going to make my way over there, and I'll see you over there.
I've got a mercury dime, 1916 mercury dime.
Okay.
And I found a ring that looks like it's a silver ring with a stone in it. I don't know if the stone is real or not.
Oh, wow.
But it's tarnished, so it looks like it might be silver.
Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just a couple of pennies and quarters.
And you found those in the beach area here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been detecting around in the beach area here.
I know this place was covered like really heavy when it first got drained. There was like dozens of people here detecting.
Yeah.
I know some people found some pretty cool stuff related to the park.
There's always more available.
Yeah.
You know, I've detected my yard at numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Just yesterday I found more coins there.
Yeah.
So there's always enough room.
That's the thrill of the hunt. You never know what you're going to find.
That's right. That's right. Dennis, he's the guy that got me into it, and he always tells me that next hole might be the best find of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you found some stuff too?
I found a couple religious. Now this one is sterling. It's all tarnished, but it says sterling on the back. See it there?
Okay,
Sterling.
yeah.
So that's silver. And this is another religious metal. This isn't. This has copper in it because it's greenish.
Yeah.
You know. But then I found a weedy that's only a 51. 51 is, I couldn't tell. Yeah, it looks like a 51.
Okay.
At least it's a weedy. And then I found this 68 penny right on the surface coming down along that curve where it dips down where the four-wheel is.
Yeah.
What this is? What do you think that is? Does that look like a key?
Oh, that looks old.
Yeah, it looks like a key.
Look, it looks Art Deco. Is that,
Oh yeah, look at that.
what
Is
is,
it a key?
that?
I thought it was something electrical, but then I saw the markings.
Do you mind if I
and
touch
looked
it,
like
or-
was-
No,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
just want to get a closer look at it here.
Yeah, maybe you could have a. That was up there in the.
I mean, the top is a key shape, but it's almost like a
Yeah.
pin.
Yeah, and maybe some of the stuff
Maybe,
broke off.
maybe something for maintenance or something
so
too.
delicate or something.
Yeah, that's really neat.
You found a dog tag.
Yeah, but that's not. That's 2007.
No.
Yeah, somebody walking their dog.
And the coins are 70s, and they're not.
What a small world. So the gentleman in the gray shirt actually used to work here as a ride operator. He worked up in the main lot area. He said he operated the lightning coaster, tilt-a-whirl, the spider, and something else. And a little like fact he was telling us is that when he operated the lightning coaster, he said he used to have to throw sand onto the track. So when he applied the brake, there was enough friction to stop the coaster train. He said if he forgot to do it, it would slide right through and people would go around again. So I told him to check out the Rocky Glen Memories page. And the gentleman, Dennis, in the red shirt, believe it or not, actually had him as an art teacher back in high school. I couldn't believe it. We're like, oh my God, what a small world. So they're down here metal detecting, as you saw. They're all finding stuff, some coins. It was a penny, a dime, and Dennis's wife looks like found like a little key or something like that too. So even now, how many years later after it's been drained, they're still finding stuff, but they were wondering where the red barn was. So I told them where it's located, and they're gonna go detect that area too. So guys, if you watch this video, it was great to meet you, and happy hunting on your metal detecting adventures. Now, where I'm walking would be underwater normally. This is the shallow end. The edge of the water would have been up there right by the tree line, but it's amazing how much this has transformed in just so little time. Obviously, since it originally drained, it's understandable, but again, 2 years ago, 90%, if not more, was completely barren. And there's actually more water here now than previously. And I'm gonna get down there and explain a little bit more about that. So right here where I'm walking, you can see there's a little kind of divider here of sand and material. There's a pipe that runs all the way through underneath the bottom of the lake, and parts of it are still exposed. I have to say, looking at the water, it looks really good right now. Now, when they first drained this lake a number of years ago, it looked really bad. It was really cloudy. There was looked like oil slicks. There was a lot of stuff that didn't look as I remember, because I've come swimming here countless times throughout my life, especially in later years. I brought my daughter swimming here. I've come swimming here, and I've always felt it was safe to come here. You know, despite what people think about people dumping stuff in the lake, it's still spring fed, because in the back of the lake, as I've shown in a previous video, it is fed by Stafford Meadow Brook, which does flow constantly into this lake, keeping a fresh supply of water coming in. So even though there are items in here, like there's a tire right here, you know, there's some debris laying around, it is still clean water coming into it. It's not sitting here stagnant. And obviously, as we'll show later over at the spillway at the dam, the water is being discharged. So it's constantly kind of going through. It's not sitting stagnant for too long. But I am pleasantly surprised and happy to see that the water is clear now. I can see right to the bottom. Let me take you out here. I'll show you the pipe and show you what it looks like up close and personal. There's actually a lot of geese poop here. So right here you can see there is the pipe. Now I don't know much about it. I'm sure Andy or somebody on the page could give some more details about it, but it's been underneath the lake the whole time. You go straight across, you can see it actually over there. And like I said, normally I'm able to walk farther, but there's more water here now. But as you can probably see, the water is crystal clear. And it's just some algae and stuff. The back of the lake here is all tree stumps. And again, when the lake was full, all these were underwater, but it made it for some tricky boating conditions. So when they had boat rides, they didn't typically come too far back as far as I'm aware. But I remember even fishing here, you know, having to go slow because the stumps were just below the surface. But we are roughly about 10 feet below the surface. Right now, the water was up to its highest point, and in the middle part is where it's the deepest, around 20, 25 feet. Maybe there's a pocket there. But as a whole, it's a relatively shallow lake. But it's come a long way. It's really clear now. I can see everything crystal clear right to the bottom. Okay, you can see right there, there's a piece of metal there, and it's just so clear. It's like you're looking through glass. Make our way a little further here. There's more of the pipe. And we'll go around. There's something protruding here, metal. Oh, this looks like a valve maybe. There's 3 bolts and there's an arm coming out of the center with like a little narrowed off tip on it, which may be a valve for that pipe. My first time ever seeing that. But continuing across, I can't go any further, but the pipe is there, easily seen. And looking across, we'd be looking towards the $1 Million Coaster over there, Swiss Cottagers over there, the dance hall, and of course the beach. So just to put you into perspective. But now it's pretty much being reclaimed by nature. A lot of wildlife now. I'm seeing tons of birds. I did see a couple fish here and there, frogs. As I'm walking around, they're kind of jumping in. And just the growth, the overgrowth now is just taking it all back. Pretty soon, it'll be unrecognizable. All right, we got more to see. Come on, let's keep moving. What are you doing back there? Come on, let's go. So our next location is just a little bit further past the pipeline right there. That's where we just were. And I came a little bit further to the back of the lake. And I just wanted to show you some of these tree stumps that were left behind. And they are pretty much all rotted out, hollowed out in the middle. And these made for some great areas for a fish to hide. This was super loaded with bass, pickerel, bluegills, and you could almost never have a bad day here, especially if you're able to come out here by boat and hit this tree stump area. It was a gold mine of fishing, but they almost are petrified now. They're almost preserved. Even though they are rotted, they're kind of reached their final decomposition post or stage, and it's kind of a unique piece of wood right now, and they're littered all back here. This one too is completely hollowed out. And you can just see how it would make a great protective area for a fish to hide or to nest. And again, that would be completely submerged underwater. But now we are gonna cover some ground, and we're gonna head over towards the far corner of the lake, directly across where the old channel was exposed when they did drain the lake. We'll check that out next. And here we are directly across the other side of the lake. We were just standing all the way back there in the distance, and we made our way over here. And what I'm showing you now is something that was not natural when the park was here. This area is like a ravine, it's dug out, and that was done after the lake was drained. This used to go straight, solid, right across, and a little bit further ahead is where the break would have been to separate the lake from the little outlet area. And the Laurel Line tracks would have been right here as well. So the break is still up there as far as I know, but they opened up this because, believe it or not, down here is an old culvert that was always submerged underwater, and never knew even existed until they did drain the lake. I'm gonna take you down here and give you a closer look at it, but this was pretty remarkable when myself and Andy found it. We saw a stone structure on the other end near the outlet, and we're thinking, what the heck is that? And it is an old culvert constructed many, many years ago to divert water from the lake into the outlet area, which is still serving its purpose today. But when the lake was full, obviously the water wasn't really moving here because it was already underwater. The water was being channeled through that break just up there. You can see there's some old rusty items here and junk. And this is what it looks like today. We do have a collection of debris here, which just kind of got lodged up, some of the nastier stuff. But as we make our way over here, the water is so clear right now, you can see the bottom without any issues whatsoever. And what we're looking at here is some timbering, and it's believed to be parts of the $1 Million Coaster that was basically right here. Now you see this concrete ledge right here? That was part of the train ride that went alongside the coaster. They had like a little dock that the tracks are on, and there's some footers all around here, especially on the other side. But the concrete, and there's some footers which are part of the coaster foundation and the platform that the train ran on. And it's all right there, including the other side going straight across where the big anchor point is, where the coaster would have turned around and the train, what is known as Lover's Island. Now you can see the steepness of this bank. That's because the water did drop off significantly. The deepest part is pretty much right here in the middle, which is supposed to be around 20 feet roughly. I mean, right now where I'm standing, you can see behind me here, I would be underwater, well over my head. I'm not even at the bottom here. So this was the deepest part, but there is still signs of the past lurking here on the bottom. Now, something that you may or may not have known, if you do follow the Rocky Glen page, you probably already do know, I actually snorkeled this lake when it was full, before they even drained it. I started over there near the dance hall, came all the way over here, and made my way into the dam area and filmed underwater, showing you what it was like. And the area, when I came over here, caused me confusion. I saw some cribbing and pallets and some stacked up wood, thinking it was something that was man-made. And it happened to be, now that I discovered it, the area where this little underground culvert is. They had like a protective wall in this corner here. So that is what I was seeing back in the day when I was underwater. And looking now, there's still some little tiny fish swimming around. I don't know if there's any large fish here, but you can see just how clear the water is though. And we're looking at what is presumed to be ride structure. And even further out, there's even like a triangle right there, which may be metal or wood. And there's like a little platform right here as well. You can see there's all the little fish. So, like I said, this was sealed up. There's just a curve right here, like the banked wall like we see right here. And the water's right up to the top of it. And this structure was, as far as I'm aware, no one ever knew about it until they actually went ahead and exposed it. And I will show you the other side as well. But it's just a really neat feature knowing that this was here so long ago, buried underwater, buried under material. And back in the day, served the purpose of draining the lake, diverting the water, whatever you want to call it. And this is the side that myself and Andy saw when they first drained the lake. And it's pretty neat. It's much more open on this side and the water's flowing through pretty good. Now this is the dam area. The dam is right there, which we will get over to, but this is known as the outlet. As another area of water, you can see it's pretty deep, at least 10 feet deep. But this is actually fed by two sources. Now, prior to them opening this up, the break over here that separated the lake and the outlet allowed water to come in. Since that is no longer serving its purpose, it's coming through the culvert as we mentioned, but there's actually more water coming in from another source. And that is from a type of pond slash swamp further back. You can see right there the water is flowing. So if you follow it up towards the end of the tree line, there's a culvert up there. It's actually going underneath part of the Erie Railroad. And on the other side of it is a swamp slash pond. Now, if you want to see what it looks like, I did do a couple of videos on it. Most recently doing the Abandoned Erie Railroad Part 4. I will link it down below in the description. You could find me showing you that culvert and showing you the pond slash swamp area. I do have plans to return to that to actually go through it. And there's another culvert farther back behind the lake, which was part of the Laurel line. So those will be shown again in a future video, but if you want to get reference as to what the source of water is, it is back there roughly 125 yards. And the old railroad tracks are there and the culvert where the water is coming through. You can see a lot of luscious nature's carpet, a lot of ties, lumber, timbering all about here. Now, just to give you guys some scale reference as to how big this is, I'm going to stand on top of it. And you can see, so it's not a huge one, not big enough to stand up and walking through. You can hunch over, make your way through, but it does kind of pinch out as you get towards the lake area and it opens up here. So it was built a long time ago. A lot of big blocks here. They are stacked up, obviously. And I just found an old railroad spike, heavily corroded. This has probably been underwater a long, long time. Huh, pretty neat. Another thing too I'm noticing too is the water and the stone specifically has like a coloration to it, almost like a rust color, which I'm wondering why, if there's something that's causing that either underneath or on the other side that's making it turn like a brownish rust color. Because on the other side it's relatively clear, but everything is stained. But yeah, got a nice little relic here. Here's that spike. You can see it's heavily corroded. Looks like it came up out of the Titanic, but that is a pretty neat find. I'm going to take that with me. Well, what I thought was a dirt bike tire is just a really old tire with the rim pretty corroded. See, the cattails are growing. It's turning almost into like a swamp though, but this is, again, spring-fed water, and it does pull up over there near the discharge pipes. So as I'm heading over to the dam here, I do want to let you know too about the sign, Rocky Glen sign out there in front of the main lot on Rocky Glen Road. If in case you're wondering, the sign is still standing, surprisingly. There are still a few letters of it that are hanging on, and you can even see the part where it says Colts bus stop, the old Colts sign. And part of the bench, believe it or not, is still intact, where guests would sit on the bench waiting for the bus to arrive. So the sign is still there. I don't know how much longer it's going to stand, but it's been there longer than probably most of us have anticipated or expected it to. But the upper sign too for the upper lot is still there. Not nearly as in good a condition, but still standing tall. But nonetheless, if you drive down Rocky Glen Road, signs are still visible. So as you can probably tell, I am walking right now on the dam wall. And it is so much different. It's getting to be kind of tedious to walk through with all these weeds and other debris. Now, prior to them draining the dam, or the lake I should say, the water would spill over here. This is the spillway, obviously. And I came snorkeling under here. You can see it is fairly deep there. I mean, that is close to 20 feet deep from where I'm standing. And that's the little bit of water that's still trickling its way in from the lake and from the swamp. But again, this was full right to the top of this. And when the water level would get low, people would thought the dam was kind of leaking or falling apart. Well, you can see where it's eroded away. Water would make its way through down some of the cracks here and wouldn't necessarily come over the top, but would come out in between the stones. Now looking over here is where the pump room used to be, the valve house, which they did deconstruct, dismantle to expose the pipes which are now discharging the water. The valves are still there. There's 2 pipes, total of 4 valves it looks like. And I will get down there and show them to you, but that is still flowing, keeping the water at the level it's at. But nothing has been done construction-wise for the dam. And that was reports as the whole reason the dam was being drained. Sorry. The whole reason the lake was being drained was to work on the dam, called dam remediation, to address any necessary repairs. And that has not taken place. No one really knows rhyme or reason as to what's going to be happening or why nothing has been done. But keeping the water level low is kind of taking away from the last bit of beauty that the park had to offer. When we did the tours here, myself and Andy, the lake was one of the highlights. It offered some breathtaking views. People would come here fishing, swimming. Now that it's gone, it kind of takes away the charm. And what little left of the park, remnants that are still here other than foundations and memories. So as sad as it is, nothing does last forever. And that's why it's good to document these things when we can, because one day the lake could be here, next day it's gone. But let's get down somewhere down there safely. It is kind of thick, so I don't know how far I'm going to go to it, but at least we'll give you a bottom portion view. And again, those of you who may or may not know, Andy has confirmed and showed photos as well as this is where the mountain dips coaster used to be. It used to start up there somewhere, and there'd be hills that dipped around and went through there. And we have searched for some remnants of it, but very near impossible to find because a lot of the land has transformed and kind of built up with debris. So anything that was visible as far as like old posts, supports, footings are long gone. But that one day there was a coaster right here. We'd be looking at it right in front of us. So here we are, we're at the back side of the dam now, looking where the pump house would have been, the valve house. And right now it is just the 2 pipes draining the water. I'm gonna try to get there safely. I do have to keep an eye out for snakes and any other thing that wants to try and hurt me. All right, so yeah, you can see right here, one of them is plugged up, still flowing a little bit. The other one is flowing clearly, freely. And you can see everything still here has that kind of rust color to it. Now it's similar, ow, what the heck was that? Something just pinched my leg. Very similar to like what you see out of a coal mine, AMD, acid mine drainage. But I know for a fact it's not that, but it is somewhat kind of acidic, maybe something from iron. I don't know the source of it, so I don't want to speculate. I'm just throwing out some random guesses here, but if you guys happen to know anything about why the water is colored like this, feel free to share, because as we saw in the lake, it's relatively clear, and all I saw was some stumps and ties. There is some metal items rusting away, but I don't think enough to cause it to flow this far and to stain it this much. But I'm going to do my best to cross over here and show you the actual spillway itself. It's flowing a bit more than I remember. This is going to be a little tricky here. That looks all slick too. Okay, safely across. Your turn, come on. And here we are. The backside of a now abandoned spillway, if you want to call it that. Oh, some kind of pondy areas here, very sludgy and smelly. But yeah, this is it. And you can see, as I was explaining before, on the top side, some of those upper layers no longer have the concrete that was sealing it together, and the water would come flowing out of those areas. So people often mistaken it for a being leaking from the backside, that it's kind of like falling apart. It's just that the concrete sealant, spackling, whatever you want to call it, just kind of wore out. and the water was just naturally forming its way through. So you can see the size of the dam here compared to me. It's roughly, I'd say, 12 to 14 feet tall, roughly, I would say. But if it'll ever see water spilling over again, who knows? What do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you made it this far though, I do want to say just a couple quick things. Number one, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Andy and all the members of the Rocky Glen Memories Facebook page. That page, the members and Andy have educated me on so much of this park that it's beyond belief. All the details I learned, history I learned about this park, because when I was around, I was only a little kid in the 80s when the park was open and it was just on its outs. It was closing in the 80s. So I don't have a ton of memories, but learning everything I've learned through you guys, through your photos, videos, memories shared, and even just general questions being answered, I've really come to appreciate this park. And it's sad that it's gone, but I'm glad that we're able to at least document it and be able to share our memories about it today. It was nice finding this little memento of this corroded railroad spike. It is going home with me in my collection, but it just goes to show too, you never know what you'll find. There's people, Dennis, which is my old art teacher, his friend and his wife are here today, metal detecting, are still finding things. This park is loaded with history and little treasures to be found. So, you know, it really pays off to come here and walk around and just keep your eyes peeled, relive the memories, and, you know, just appreciate what this place offered at one time. One thing that's safe to say is that whether you were here when the park was open or not, people have opinions and memories about this park, both good and bad. You know, I remember when the park was open, I came here swimming in as a teenager. Later years, brought my daughter here swimming and fishing, and now I'm doing documentaries and update tours of this park. So much has changed over time, and now nature is reclaiming it. So much has changed in 2 years. That little time alone, it's incredible how much it's been grown in. And it's kind of surreal because it's going back to its roots. Before Rocky Glen ever opened, it was trees, greenery, bees, natural spring-fed water flowing through. So it's kind of going back to its roots, which is, if you think about it, kind of remarkable. It's come a long way. Anyways, guys, feel free to comment down below. I want to hear your input, whether it's on today's video or just on the park as a whole. The future is unknown. No one knows what's going to happen, but the best way to stay informed is two ways. Number one is the Rocky Glen Memories Facebook page, and number two is my YouTube channel. I do stay up to date on this stuff and love to share it with you guys. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you are subscribed if you do want to see future content related to the park or other things here in Pennsylvania. And last, I just want to say, if you'd like to help support the channel for future adventures, you could pick up a Nature's Carpet t-shirt. You could donate $2 or more on my Patreon page, which will give you a first-hand look at projects I'm working on. Or if you don't want to throw any dollars, the simplest and cheapest thing to do is just to give one of these. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for taking your time to watch my video today, spending the afternoon with me, and as always, I'll see all of you in the next video.